friends, welcome back to day number 2 of our potatoes. We are now going to cure our potatoes. So you can cure your potatoes outside. The reason we want to cure them is we want to preserve them for long-term storage. When you take them out of the ground, their skin is going to be really delicate and really soft. And they're not, you can just put them into a crate and expect them to last. They won't last. So you cure them in order to have them last throughout the season. So, look, that one has a spread on it. So I am getting these out. We're down in the basement, and I'm actually going to use my grow room to lay all my potatoes out at. You want a dark, cool room, so basements work really well, and you want something with good airflow. So I'm going to turn the fan on here. I'm not going to leave it on 24/7. I don't like leaving things on 24/7, but I'm going to try to remember to come down here and have the fan going at least once per day. And in about 10 days, these should be cured. You want to make sure that skin is thicker. Any scabs that are on the plant or on the potato have kind of healed over. And anything that, has kind of gone soft, you want to either use up or throw away. So I'm just going to start by laying all of them out here. I'm putting up here the ones that animals have slightly chewed on. And we are going to use them up first. I'm not going to worry about curing them. I only want to cure the potatoes that haven't been another animal's snack. You can cure potatoes outside. However, I worry about having animals, either in the garage or outside in my driveway. I worry about having another animal come make a snack of my potatoes. So I am doing it down here in the relative coolness and in the dark. That's important. You definitely want to do it in the dark. So I'm just laying them out single file, and you don't want them touching each other. They can be close, but you don't want them touching each other. And there are some that, like, when I dug it up, it has, like, the skin pulled back a little bit. That's fine. I'm leaving that as it is. I'm not worried about that. And I've never actually cured baked potatoes like this before, white potatoes. I have cured sweet potatoes, and I have cured other things like butternut squash and pumpkins, but I've never cured potatoes like this. I typically just can them. So I could absolutely can these. I have a good amount that are pretty small. I could absolutely can these. I don't want to. I like having canned potatoes on the shelf every now and then, but I think I want the actual potato more. So what's nice about this is, Sawyer, what are you doing? What's nice about this is you can cure them and then decide later on, maybe you want to can them, or maybe you don't cure them well and they start sprouting or they start looking a little soft. At that point, you can can them, you can eat them, you can freeze them. You still have options. You still have options. And you also don't want to, I said yesterday when we harvested these, you want to harvest it while it's dry, so you don't want to harvest when it's raining or when the ground is wet. And you don't want to wash the potatoes. You want to leave as much, well, you don't want to leave as much dirt, but you want to leave the dirt on the potato. So you can see my potatoes are pretty dirty. You can sweep off like an excess of dirt, but you don't want to like wash them. Okay. If you don't have a basement, my initial plan was to put these on a dining room table and then put a towel over them so they're dark. You definitely want them to be in the dark. So out of the white potatoes, I have this big bad boy, size my palm, with just a little chunk taken out of him. So, oh, I guess there's two little chunks there and there. So I'm just going to cut around him, and we're going to eat him. This guy, little chunk at the end, we'll eat the bottom. So the ones, they're barely touched. This one is barely touched. So I'm just going to make sure that we eat that for dinner this week. The red potatoes are going to go up here. I think I probably need more space, but we'll get more space then. And there are things that have scabs. Like you can see there's a scab here. And what looks to be like a scab here. I don't know if someone gnawed on this and it's already started to scab over or what. You can try it. See, leave it for 10 days. See if it scabs over and it looks, you know, dry and not rotten or anything like that. And then if it has not scabbed over, then you either just eat it if it's still good, or then you toss it. There's really not, I don't really think there's this isn't a bad, I really don't think there's a way that this is not a good thing to do. You know, if the potatoes don't cure, if it scabs, if it doesn't scab, if it starts to soften, then you just go ahead and use it up in some other way. We're only doing this for about 10 days, and I'm going to keep an eye on it too. And I'll probably be running my hands over these potatoes. Oh, hello, sir. Probably every day. Oh, you can't see him. Monroe has come up to see what's going on. So I'll probably have my hands on these potatoes every day, just kind of checking on them. And I'll be able to identify if some are starting to go soft very, very early on. And then I can definitely get those pulled out and use them up. Now, in no way is this a year's worth of potatoes for me, but it's a start. And I wanted to do an update because I was kind of bummed last night. I was kind of bummed. So this was 12 pounds of seed potatoes that I chitted, which means I cut them in multiple pieces and planted. And I only got about 26 pounds of potatoes. Now I'm factoring in that I lost some potatoes to moles, probably lost a couple pounds to moles, and I got a couple of pounds of potatoes from a russet potato that I left in the ground from last year, so that was free potatoes. So I'm kind of like taking the russet, the free potatoes I got with the russet, and the potatoes I lost from the mole, because they were some big ones that I lost. I'm kind of canceling them out. So I'm saying I got about 26 pounds of potatoes from 12 pounds of seed potatoes. So the way that potato math typically works is every pound of potatoes typically gives you around 10 pounds of potatoes. So if you plant 1 pound of seed potatoes, you should get 10 pounds of potatoes. So I'm not gonna lie, like, I wasn't expecting 120 pounds of potatoes because I planted 12 pounds, but I also wasn't expecting to just double. Like, I was expecting more. So, I did some thinking last night, and I think I realized what the problem is. So, there are 2 different ways to grow potatoes. You can grow them roofed out, which is what I do, or you can grow them traditionally where you bury them in the ground. And if you grow them traditionally where you bury them in the ground, you do something called hilling. So as the potato grows, you pile dirt up the stem. So every about 10 inches, you would hill dirt up the stem, and the stem will continue to put out potatoes. So I tried last year to hill my straw. So I plant roofed out, which means I just put the potatoes on the surface of the soil and I cover it with straw. So there's benefits and drawbacks. So by covering it with straw, it makes the planting process super easy. And it makes the harvesting process, which is why I do it, it makes the harvesting process even easier. I don't need to dig for my potatoes. I pull the straw back and the potatoes are laying on the surface, and the potatoes come up really clean. they come up looking good. If I planted them in the soil, I may need to worry about when I dig them out, damaging potatoes when I dig them out, because then they go down into the soil. No, don't mess with the camera. Okay, you're gonna knock stuff down there. You're gonna knock. Say hi to our friends. Say hi to our friends. So, I love you too. I know. So, where was I? With the hilling of the potatoes, I would continue to grow up that stem. With plant and root stout, I can't hill the potatoes, so I'm not getting the maximum growth along that stem. So this is the second year in a row. I think last year I planted 4 pounds of potatoes, and I think I got around 18. So last year I did better with less potatoes. Last year was a better quantity year for my weight, but it still wasn't what it should have been. So I'm thinking that that's going to be the one massive con with Ruth Stout gardening, or Ruth Stout potato gardening, that if you go Ruth Stout method, you are making your life so much easier, so much nicer, but you are not going to get the number of potatoes that you would if you put them in the ground. So I think I need to take the year to figure out what I want to do. Obviously, I spent $24 on potatoes, and I got 26 pounds. So I spent about $1 a pound, which isn't hateful. Would I have liked to maximize that? Absolutely. However, it's the middle of July, which is when potatoes get harvested around here, and it is brutally hot. I think I harvested them yesterday, and it was like 85 degrees, and that was at like 7:30 at night, 8:30 at night, something like that. So realistically, I would like to put them in the ground because I would get more, but the idea of digging them out doesn't sound as fun. That sounds, when it's this hot, that sounds brutal. So I have been thinking. I planted these potatoes mid-April. I would need to go back and look at my journal. I forget what day, but I always plant them around like April 18th, something around there. So I planted these around April, early April, and it's July 19th today. I harvested them yesterday, and they honestly probably could have came out about a week before. So April 18th to May to June, July, that's 3 months. It's July, we have July, August, September. We have until October to before like our first frost. And potatoes actually like the cooler weather. They don't actually like it that hot. So I am considering, I don't know, I think at this point right now I'm going to try. What's the worst that can happen? But I know 100% next year I'm going to do better. So I already looked for seed potatoes for right now. For me to go put seed potatoes in the ground right now to see if I could get anything to harvest in the fall. If you think about it, we can harvest baby potatoes all night long. Like, these things roasted are fantastic. So even if they don't grow to full baked potato size, as long as they grow, they'll grow something, right? So like I said, I already looked for seed potatoes. I can't find seed potatoes. So I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to go tomorrow to the grocery store, and I'm going to buy a bag of, I'm not going to use any of these because I grew these. These are hard work. I'm going to buy a bag of, probably, honestly, these red potatoes. I really like these red potatoes. I'm going to buy a bag of these red potatoes, and I think I'm going to replant them and see if I can get a fall harvest. I don't know anyone that does that. I don't know if that's a thing. So we'll have to see. Side note, I also planted corn like 3 weeks ago, wondering if I get like a fall harvest of corn. And I also haven't watered anything. We're to the point that I don't water my garden anymore. Mother Nature takes care of it. So my corn has not sprouted. So that that could be a me problem, but that was a fail. But I think I'm going to do the potatoes, and I'm going to throw them in a bed, because I have a whole bunch of beds that are coming open. Like, my raised beds just hold my spring vegetables. So, like, my onions will be coming out soon, my broccoli's ready to come out, my lettuce is coming out. So, I have a bunch of beds that will be open. So, I'm thinking about buying these potatoes, cutting them in half, and maybe not even cutting them in half, honestly. Maybe just taking the whole potato and putting the whole potato in the garden bed, and covering it with some straw. Again, doing the same thing, planting them roost out just for the sake of my life. I don't know. Maybe I will bury them. Maybe I will bury them, because we'll be harvesting them in the fall. Yeah, so we'll bury them. We'll bury them. We'll be harvesting them in the fall, so it'll be a lot cooler, and we'll put them in the raised bed, so it will be hopefully too much to dig. So we're gonna do that, and we're gonna see if we can get a fall harvest of potatoes. If I'm annoyed I hadn't thought of this earlier. So ideally, you want your potatoes to have eyes on them, to have sprouts on them. This guy's trying to grow another potato. I'm actually gonna take that off. I could plant him, but I don't want to. So ideally, I would have gotten these potatoes and I would have set them out in the sun and try to get them to sprout. I'm afraid I don't have that time now. I'm afraid that I realized this too late. So I'm going to just put them in the ground whole. I'm going to buy them from the store. You know, I'm going to try to get like smaller size, like this size. And I'm just going to put this in the ground directly like this. And hope that it sprouts in the ground. Maybe I won't do that. I'm talking out loud. Maybe I will put them on the table. I don't know. We're going to try it. We might do a couple different ways, but I'm going to buy potatoes, I'm going to throw them in the ground, and I'm going to see if I can get a fall harvest. And then I'm going to keep in mind for next year. I came by seed, and I don't want to buy the April seed potatoes that are out, because they're already sprouted. So they wouldn't have waited this long to go in the ground. So I'm going to try to make a mental note that next year in like the end of May to buy potatoes, sit them out in the sun, and see if I can't get them to sprout and then plant them. So we're going to try that and see if we can get a fall harvest of our potatoes. You never know until you try, right? And we're going to try. So I'm going to leave these. This light is not staying on. This is only on because if I turn it off, and I'll show you. Oh, okay. The light in here is actually pretty bad, but now I can't see over here, so. Anywho, I only had it on so I could see what I was doing. So we're now going to leave. This light will be off. That window doesn't let in a lot of light, so it'll be nice and dark in here. Let me make sure that doesn't let in a lot of light. Yeah. So that'll be good for these potatoes. And we'll check them every day. We'll put a fan on them, and we'll check them, and we'll make sure that they are good to go. So thank you guys for coming along on my potato harvesting journey. Stay tuned in a couple days or a couple weeks. I'll let you know how these guys did. And then these guys, I only have a few that I've kind of so far have deemed from my quick check to not be curable. So these guys are going to go upstairs, and we're going to eat these for dinner sometime this week. Thank you guys for joining me. I'll see you in the next video. Bye, friends.